What's up, y'all? Keith Dykes here with W.K.D. Construction. Welcome back to my channel. And if you're new, thanks for stopping by. You can always hit that subscribe button, man, and come back. Check us out all the time. So let's go build something.
Good morning, everybody. It is the day. It is truss setting day. So I thought I'd bring you around to the back side of the house. Not a lot of thrills back here, just plain Jane. Just get it done roof. Got the shed roof over the back porch and then just pretty much single pitch on the back. So if you saw my video last week, we just kind of got into the technical stuff, trying to dimensions, measuring, making sure everything is correct before we actually sent the order in and they actually started producing them and are able to bring them and drop them off. So today we're getting on to the fun stuff. They're gonna deliver them, go through and kind of show you the schematics, the drawings that I get, the technical stuff that you need to know before you install your trusses. Make sure everything is braced properly, supported correctly to make that truss be structurally sound, and then we're gonna get to setting them. I am gonna get into showing you how to plumb a truss. So when you got a 12-foot tall wall and then you've got a 12-foot tall truss, you know, that's 24 feet from all the way up that you need to be square basically from the floor. So I'm going to show you a method that I use every time we do a roof to show you how to get it straight and how to keep your trusses plumb, because if your first one's off, hell, all the rest of them are going to be off. So that first one, the first one you set, needs to be nuts, dead nuts. You know what I mean? It has to be correct, because once you start tying them all together, it just makes a better, it just makes it flow a little quicker, because you don't want to have to go back and have to re-rack and do all the crazy stuff. You know what I mean? So just get it done right the first time, and it just saves you some time. And make sure everything is braced off like hell, because people can get seriously hurt. You know, you hear stories, people have died because of being trapped inside the trusses and they all fall, and nobody wants that. Nobody at all wants that. I want to be here for a long time, so you need to make sure bracing is crazy. You know what I mean? Go the extra mile, throw in an extra brace. It doesn't matter. If the safety of your guys, for you and your guys, cost doesn't matter. You know what I mean? In my scenario, we did have this part of the house already raftered, so it's no problem to brace off of that. That is a very solid base to be able to start your bracing from on your trusses. So that helped us out. So if you're just starting on you know, like if I started on this gable over here and worked my way that way, then you really get into some hardcore diagonal bracing to make sure everything is solid before you even get up on there. You know what I mean? We usually brace down from the ground. We'll have a couple zigzags up through the roof, try to get 3 or 4 set and really brace them off before we really start going. But in my case right here, we had a very good stable base, and it just made our life easier. So come on, let's go set some trusses. Oh, power truss is here. Got our trusses. I'm still here. I hadn't left yet. Gonna leave here in about an hour. They showed up early, so that's good. I'll get you see how they drop these things off of the trailer.
Get them over a little more.
No, that'd be fine. Just plug that back to
Got them all on the ground. Got our LVLs for, we got to build a little header right there over the top of the garage entry, or sorry, kitchen entry. And now I'll have to sit here for a few days because I'm going to California, as I said before, but we'll get these all stacked out here in the yard, destack them, that way we know where to put them up. They give me a drawing of where each one of them go, and we just put it together. All right, y'all, so the next plan of action here on the Dykes home project are these bad boys here. They are the trusses that Power Truss delivered the other day. So they send a packet. It's got everything laid out. I don't know if I'll be able to do this. It's kind of windy. I may have to go in there. But they send everything, you know, laid out what it is. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go in there because I won't be able to pull out the schematic of how they got this thing laid out. Let me regroup here. Roof trusses are engineered. They are designed by an engineer. So when you get the pack, everything needs to be supported like it's supposed to. Everything needs to be braced where it's supposed to. And Power Truss, when you get it, they send, you know, like I said, all your little packet around. But so right here is highlighted. It tells us where to put our lateral bracing. So I mean, it is pretty in-depth to have your roof structurally sound. We're gonna have to go through there everywhere this is highlighted on every single truss, different trusses. We've got several different trusses. So wherever that is, they they highlight it and tell you where to put everything. And then they come over here, you know, and it tells you how many nails through your 2x4s, or if you got to use 2x6s, or if you've got to do a little hog's trough action. So it is very, very detailed in what we need to do to make this roof hold up and last structure and be structurally sound over time. That is one great thing about using trusses. Everything is engineered. They know they know what it's gonna carry. Like, you got live load, dead load, ultimate snow load. You know, they have all of those numbers. They can put them in. They design that truss to hold up that weight versus, you know, raftering. If you're doing raftering, you're just kind of thinking, you know, unless you have a full structural set of plans that you're building by, which most of the time your regular blueprints you buy online are not structural plans. They are just for looks. So if you do find a house plan, It's not a structural plan, so an engineer has not looked at that. Just the architect has drawn it. So once I do that, and before we design all the roofs, I send it to whoever. You can actually have a lumber company, like if you're going to be doing I-joist, to do all your LVL beams and stuff like that. You can send that through your local building supply. They will send it to that engineer, and they will design your floor system for that. Usually no price, it doesn't cost you anything. If you're going to buy their lumber, they will engineer it for you. And then of course, if you're going to buy trusses, your roof system from a truss company, they design all that, and it's not, you know, an additional cost. So that is something to think about when you are getting house plans, that they are not a set of structural documents. So getting back to raftering, so if I rafter, like over there, I've been in the game long enough. I know what needs to be supported and where it needs to be supported. So that's something you don't want to take lightly. That's why we went with 2x8 pine rafters, because they're really stout. They have a good load factor. You don't have to do as much bracing. If I went 2x6, you definitely have to put more bracing in there. So that's just something to think about if you're dealing with a builder. Just make sure everything is supported correctly, because over time it can either stay there, be, you know, perfect, or it can sag, or you have problems down the road if it isn't structurally sound, you know what I mean? So these other pack, it's got all the different trusses. They are usually got a code on them, like A1, A2, A3, B1, you know what I mean? They're all just numbered. So all you have to do is find that number, find that truss, and you know exactly where it goes, because they send a whole schematic layout. So I'll show you that. But, I mean, this is everything. It tells you your nailing patterns, what you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to actually tote the trusses, set them up, and brace up your gables correctly. So they send out all the information to make sure you will have the best job possible, because if it's not braced off correctly before you put on your sheathing, they can fall. So as long as you go by their guidelines, brace it off really good, you're not gonna have any issues. I've never had any issues. So all right, so here is our total schematic. And this is pretty they laminated this thing. That's awesome. They had never done that before. So now they're laminated. That way I keep it out here on the job site. It's not going anywhere. So here's what we got. I may have to, I can't do this. Of course, this is the garage over here is what I framed. So here's all what we have. And it tells you A19, you got 8 of them. A1, 8 of them, A2, 9 of them, you know, so 24-inch spacing. It's got everything very detailed. Never had any issues. It always works great. You got a good engineer drawing it. Everything works out perfectly. So it's pretty cool. This is designer Luke Vaughn. Robert Green, salesperson, Power Truss out of Mayfield, Kentucky. Awesome company. Been using them for a long time, man. Excellent. #1 material. All they use is #1 pine for all of their trusses. #1 pine. So quality. It is all good materials. They do what they say. They get it done. Out the door. No questions asked. So I am fixing to I'm fixing to lay out all of our trusses on the top plate. That way, it is Friday afternoon, and hopefully we will not have any rain. We've had 4 inches of rain in the past 4 days, seems like, so we've had a lot of rain. I was trying to let it dry out a little bit. So hopefully on Monday we will have an excellent day, excellent week, I hope. And I'm gonna get these trusses laid out, and we're gonna start setting trusses Monday. Ooh, ooh. All right, we got a little situation, not a situation, but sometimes you will have this type of situation. We've got different plate heights. So I started my layout as Power Truss wanted me to, from down at that end. So I laid out my 12-foot tall wall. So now I need to drop down to my 10-foot wall. don't automatically assume that this little 2-foot section is perfectly plumb. By the time you put plywood on it and everything, it can rack a little bit. So either check that with the level. You could check right here, make sure that's level, or you can do what I did. I got my level set up on layout, plumb it down, and I'll just take my tape, a hook, and then pull 2 foot. Just because, just for shits and giggles, just to make sure. You could be off. It happens. It happens to the best of us. So use you could either laser it all the way up and down, or like I said, just use a little level right there. I just use the nail. Hangs pretty cool. So I'll see if I can do this right here, and you watch. So I'm just gonna hook the level. Plumb it right there. If it'll stay, mark it on my layout. All right, I'll go ahead and check it again. Right there. Yep, right on. So that is going to be A3, X on that side, 10 3/4. We'll do a check just to make sure. So we got 10 3/4 to there. So that is out almost 1/8 of an inch right here. It's got a little slight bow to it. And if your top plate, you know, could be hanging over just a little bit, or, you know, it could be a little shy. So find your layout, level down, measure over, and that will be more accurate way to find your layout on a different height wall versus just pulling your dimension, because it can happen, it can change. So now all I have to do is put on my layout, mark my other layouts. I got all my layouts, my numbers for my trusses, where they go. Right here, we are going to double up. We got an AG3, or A3G, sorry, A3G. That is 3 feet from here to here, because we are going to leave a 3-foot opening. We're going to double up our trusses, because I have a stairwell that needs to come up and get into the attic for Macy's room. So we are doubling up 2 trusses. That way we can span. We got to span our ridge pole, ridge beam across, and that will structurally hold the extra framing that we have to do on, you know, to support and span over the top of that stairwell opening. Now that everything's laid out, we're gonna have to come back in and string our walls. I'll let you look down through here. Everything is plumb, pretty close to plumb, but once you look down it, you can see it's got a little bow to it. So before I set the trusses, I don't know if we'll do it today because the string will set up. We may do it this afternoon or first thing Monday morning, but we will string from here all the way down to that end, string across there, and then we will pull the wall in or out. We got our, of course, we got the beautifully awesome Just-O-Matic 5000s on the wall. So this is where these come in super handy, because we're not going to have to be taking down braces. All we have to do is simply turn them to wherever we need to, right to that line. So that, like I said, that is where these adjustable braces shine. They are worth every bit of it, every bit of the money you got to pay for them, even though I made mine, but they work great. It is truss setting day. So we are getting our walls straightened out. I was gonna string them, but it's a pretty good distance, and kind of wind's kind of blowing a little bit. I don't want it to move the string. So at every brace, we're taking the laser. We know the bottom plate is, we popped a line on the bottom plate, so we know that is straight. So I'm gonna measure off of it 3 inches, put the laser on it, and then measure 3 inches at the top. That way we know that wall is straight. But we'll do that every brace. We got about every 10, 12 feet. So we'll get it straight, eyeball it again, make sure it's right. And we'll come over onto this wall, get it braced up, and make sure it's straight. I've got a scissor lift. Went and rented a scissor lift from service rental out of Paris, Tennessee. So I'm about to get that off of there, take the forklift, get it off, bring it in, put it in the slab, and then Steve will be on the scissor lift. Brent and Steve will be on the edges. They can fasten the truss, but Steve can be up top, take the hook down or whatever needs to be done, and then he can kind of brace it off. We'll cut some 2-foot boards or 25.5-inch boards, and he can screw those on top and keep everything nice and stiff. And then being in the scissor lift, that keeps you safe. So that's our plan. These walls are 12 feet tall, so I mean, you can use a level. I do have a Stabila plate level, but I think the laser is a little more accurate. You're not, you know, it's already set level, so just measure out 3 inches on the bottom, 3 inches on the top, pull your tape, and you can adjust whatever you need to. This is the absolute beast truss setup right here. I have my guy Jay. He built me this extend-a-boom or jib pole, whatever you want to call it. Goes right onto the end of my forklift. And then he built me these hook. I call this the J hook. But so it works great for setting trusses because it's a little wider. It's a little wider at the top. So when I set the truss, I keep tension on it. They get it braced, and then all I have to do is drop the boom down. It comes right off. It's not like going to get hung on there or anything. So works really great. Been using them for years. Before I had my forklift, I would have to hire somebody with a small crane come and set, and you're kind of at their mercy. You've got to get done. They're getting paid by the hour no matter what, if you take lunch. So it's, once I got the forklift, boom pole and all that, man, it makes a difference. You're not so rushed. You can make sure everything is good to go. And of course it doesn't cost me anything. At one time it did, but I paid for my forklift when I bought it. I think I paid $25,000 for it, and then I bought some, had Jay make me some implements and stuff for it. So that is the best $25,000 I have ever spent in my life. Man, it's handy. It is the cat's pecker. Oh, it's the first truss. Time to do it. Oh, got the remote. Let's go. We got this first one set. Of course, it's up against the house, so we are going to use this opportunity to brace it up really good. That way, as we start throwing them in there, then we got something to brace off of. So we got some blocking that shoots out from the wall. We're going to screw it to there, make it nice and straight. Then we'll plumb up with a laser, get the top set where it needs to be, and run some bracing over into the roof. That way we get it nice and strong. So we got these two doubled up because we are having a stairwell going up beside that. So the engineer designed it to be able to tote the extra load that we have to do our ceiling joist, our ridge pole, and all that good stuff. So that's why that one is doubled up. And then now we'll start going singles all the way through there. To ensure that you are plumb, super plumb with this truss, is I found my layout, lasered down, found a point here, found a point on that end, and then we chalked the line. So I know that is where my truss needs to go. Then all I have to do is measure it off my chalk line, a certain increment, whatever you pick, and then Brent can go up top, find that measurement, and then we can brace it off and make the whole truss plumb from top to bottom. Gotcha? Yeah. That'd be all right. Laser is awesome. It comes in handy for big stuff like that. So once we got that 2-ply truss together, I just get my little schematic. See, A3G tells you all the bracing. But as far as nailing together, it tells you that, specifies that as well. So right here, 2-ply truss to be connected with 10D nails, which we're using 16 penny nails. So top cord's connected, 9 inches on center, bottom cord's 9 inches on center, and webs connected at 9 inches on center. So everything is explained in the schematics. Just do what you're supposed to, and that roof will be there for life. This is A3s. All the A3s are done. Now we're jumping up to a different plate height. These are gonna be A2s. And then we'll jump to A1, which will span the whole, all the way out to this front wall. So I think we got eight more A3s, I believe. A2s, sorry. Too many A's. It is warming up today. It will be like 82 or 83 degrees, and that is hot for middle of April. Now we're gonna drop back down to the last section, A3s, those were A1s. And we'll drop down to A3s, put 4, 5, I think there's 4 just on this end, got a gable end. And then you can see it's kind of gable, it's got a gable studded, kind of partially on that end, so we don't have to do a lot of extra framing. Ah, I love it when it works out. This is gonna be a big, it's gonna be a big ass room. Especially if we got some 12-foot ceilings in here. So we've got everything. Everything is braced from end to end. We put a little extra bracing on this end just to kind of hold it. So in probably sometime tomorrow after we get, still got to do these trusses, these scissor trusses up over the kitchen. We're gonna have to get those. We'll get all those kind of stiffened up, and then we'll jump in here and start crawling like monkeys up here and bracing everything off and getting everything as it should. It's badass. Oh, I love the forklift and the boom. You see, threw a couple little pieces of bracing up there. Got the gable. Now the gable studs are not in line with my wall studs because, well, I already had my wall studs up, and then the power truss, they just built it center of each truss. I didn't tell them my specification, so we'll have to do a little blocking with our gable, but that's no big deal. And I left, if you see, I left this piece of last sheet of zip wall off. That way, once I can tie the gable into the wall with a whole sheet and make it really have that structural connection really solid, you know what I mean? Versus right there, that won't be as strong. We are down onto the plate, but this will get down onto the wall about 2 feet, run the sheet up past, and that sucker will be attached like hell. That changed the looks of it today. Here comes Mamacita. That's the boss. Boss, come check it out. What you doing? What do you think?
Been good.
Me or the house?
You. House is alright.
It's mowing day. See my in-laws over there? Well, it's my father-in-law, my mother-in-law. She's kind of down in the bottom down there. So I gotta get on my mower because they're gonna make me look bad. But altogether, I think we mow about 8 acres. It's a lot of grass. It is day 2 of setting trusses on the Dykes home project. All right, so when Power Truss made these trusses, all they can make, I think, is a 12-foot high truss to be able to haul them legally on the road. So if you get into anything that is over 12 feet, you have to piggyback, you have to put a cap on them. I rather build my own. It just, I don't know. Once you get the trusses made, they sit out here in the rain and stuff, seem like they move a little bit. So I've done the caps in the past, but it seems like I had to do a lot of modification as far as planing and stuff to make everything work out. So we're setting up a factory right here on the ground. You can see the truss goes right there, and we're adding on this point. So we're going to add on that point, put some gussets on there. Just going to use some 7/16 OSB or 7/16 zip wall for our gussets. Use some 1.5" staples and staple the pits out of them, and that will be substantial. We could even laminate on both sides if we need to, but for right now we're going to go ahead, get them up, gusset them with plywood, and then we're going to install them, go ahead and stack them up in there. I just thought it'd be easier to do them on the ground right now versus up in the air later, just because of orientation, how it's setting. It'd be hard to get the forklift in there and get up in there and make a nice, be able to, you know, work. So we're going to go ahead and do it on the ground and then just stick them up as a whole. So we're just going to take this and do that. That'll work. That'll do, pig. That'll do. What's the matter? Out of bullets? Out of bullets. Get your bullets. Well, before we screwed that truss to those other trusses, we plumbed up, made sure each truss was right. So we got it all squared up. It was out about maybe 3/16 or so. So we got them plumbed up, and we're fastening the truss to that. So now we have to get up top and get the top brace. But I'm gonna do the chalk line. I'm gonna chalk a line, then we'll put the laser in the bottom down here, laser up and do it that way. Need a little wind. This is our last truss. Gable truss here on the front of the kitchen. The other one's worked out really good. Aye. Crawling up and down, up into the trusses all day makes an old man tired. You see, we got bracing on the bottom, bracing up on the cords, wherever they specified. We got some bracing in there. Had to replumb this wall a little bit, make that work. But that is gonna be up in the clouds right there. But it's gonna look good. It looks way different with the ceiling in here, with the trusses on here. Definitely closes it in, kind of gives you that perspective. I brought Emily over here last night, and I said, well, there's your vaulted kitchen. I was like, damn, it is high. That is up there. I mean, we've got 12-foot ceilings, and then I don't even know what the vault is, but it's 12. It's got to be pushing 20 feet to the peak of that. So, but we are going to have a big gable window, big arched window. So we want that very dramatic. You know, you want to go like come into the kitchen, go zoom. That looks good. Yeah, have that wow factor. All right, y'all. So that was my video on how we set trusses here at my house on the Dykes Home series. So I've shown you a few tips and tricks or methods that I've kind of had to need for myself through the years, all my years in construction. You know, you kind of work for this guy, work for that guy. I did way early on. You know, you kind of see what they're doing, what this guy's doing. You kind of take those and you kind of melt it and put it into your method. So hopefully you've kind of seen something and you might be able to turn it around, put a twist on it, and apply it to your situation. On the next few upcoming videos, which should be on trusses as well, I'll probably get a little more detailed into specifics on trussing, on the trusses. Like I got a video that's going to do specifically just on bracing a gable truss, how to do it properly. And then I believe I've got a video on, like, say you've got this set of trusses here, perpendicular to these, and we need to fill in a valley. So I'm going to have some of that. So just kind of some more specific items when you're getting into a truss roof that I'm going to make videos on. So once again, I am Keith Dykes. Thanks for watching, and you guys have a good day.